you pass by me. Say hello once in a while. When you pass by me, baby, doesn't hurt much to smile. We promise that we'll be friends till the very end. Begging you, baby, let me down easy.
Having a little bit of fun here. Welcome to the Chefpreneur Show. It is still a minute before 5 o'clock, which is when we go live. We just want to do something a bit different for you guys. Yeah. We're actually going to change everything up with the show for those who want to we got a sign coming in. Really exciting. Oh, I think that's for sure. Hopefully, all right.
You want to put
Yeah, transform you.
Transformers.
All right, welcome guys. Welcome to another show. That was just a last minute thing. We were kind of like, yeah, should we just play something? We love Odessa.
We're gonna get more production.
The music pumps you up. We got some new lights. Got some new lights in the studio. They're a little bright.
Yeah, they're nice.
They are nice.
Can you guys? How's the quality?
And hopefully we fixed kind of a little bit of the quality because it was a little blurry last time. So welcome to a new week and a new show. Hopefully a new crisp, clean show. Crispy Rice Krispies. But we will be here live at 5 today. We're gonna be live at 5 next week. And then the next week after that, we're actually gonna have to take a little break.
Yeah, we're actually not going to have a show the week of June 5th. So basically June 7th, we will not be having the Chefpreneur Show.
We got something more exciting actually planned. So
we have, it is a little, now it's better. I think the connection sometimes has a little bit of an issue.
It might. I mean, we're live streaming, so
it might.
I have everything feeding directly in. I think that's going to help, hopefully, with the crispiness. There might be a little bit of blur here and there, but as we go, we'll just continue to upgrade things and continue going. But welcome, guys. I hope you've been having a fantastic week. Those who are live with us right now, we go live on this show every Wednesday at 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. This is your host, Chef Andres Sinajosa.
How are you guys doing? And this is one and only Brock Wagner,
That's
the
right.
amazing co-host here on the Chefpreneur Show. And we're just excited to be with you guys again for this week. We got some things coming up. We're excited about what's coming up. Not
in a couple weeks.
Yeah, technically in a couple weeks. A couple weeks. Yeah, after next week.
June 5th.
Coming up. Yeah, it's coming up really fast. We're going to be doing another 5-day Chefpreneur Challenge coming up on June 5th.
Ooh, what'd you say? What'd you say? Huh? What are we doing?
A 5-day Chefpreneur Challenge.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing another 5-day Chefpreneur Challenge.
That's right.
I love those. And people who attend those love those. So if you haven't been in a 5-day challenge before, register, get in. It's free. Yeah. And we train all week. And we're actually changing up a few of the things and kind of how we do it, which is actually going to make it bigger, better, more exciting.
Yeah.
I think the training content's going to be a lot more streamlined as well. I sent out a survey a couple weeks ago following the challenge just to get some feedback and kind of see how people were liking it and get some specific kind of perceptions around, what'd you think about the time frame? What'd you think about the length of training? What'd you think about the training content and registering and signing up and the whole experience? And we got some really great feedback. And I really appreciate those of you who took the time to submit that survey. It was a very short survey, but we take that feedback very seriously. And I'm just excited to be able to apply everything that we learned from that and kind of change some things up and just, really, really bring people in and help them to be even more impacted through our challenges.
Yeah, I think that's really important to we're trying to freshen up. We know that the actual training itself is really solid. Obviously, it's what we teach, but yeah, we're trying to streamline it. We know that people are very busy and have, we respect your time. And honestly, we respect our own time too. So we're like, you know what, how can we like look at this, just give them more value, more direct, and let's go, baby. So you guys can get and help you guys get more success. A couple of things that we're going to talk about on the show today. We do have a few things that were some topics that, we try to look at what's going on sometimes in the trends and different things like that. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about as well, just on one side is the business side of just business in general, of how expectations of what it's like to build a business. I think I wanted to just kind of also just talk on that, and we can kind of free flow as we get into it. But I think there's so many things, and I was talking earlier to my dad today, and we were talking a little bit about just different economies and things like that. And of course, my dad is from Chile, from South America, and they got some neighbors over there in Venezuela. Any Venezuelans out there, shout out to all the Venezuelans or the Chilenos. But it's really sad because it takes a long time. My dad said something that just kind of caught my attention, and he said it takes a lot of time to rebuild the economy of a country, but it takes a very short amount of time to destroy it.
Oh yeah.
And you know what, business doesn't necessarily mean it takes you forever to build a good business, but I think a lot of times when we talk about taking a faster path, taking a path with mentors and coaches, and really getting yourself aligned with someone who can teach you the foundations, teach you about business, and really guide you down a path. I think that also what I'm noticing as I'm coaching a lot of people is that setting the expectation with the chefs that I coach, that it doesn't happen overnight. It can happen quickly, but what, defining quickly, again, it's a loose word, because, what could be someone to say, hey, it's quick to say a year, it's quick to say 6 months, it's quick to say 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's different definitions of quickness. And I was also listening to a podcast this morning from Alex Hormozian. They were mentioning how, realistically, like there's things that they do that are more a play on, hey, we're going to build this, they were calling it a ship, but we're going to build this ship, aka like this business. And there's a lot faster way to make the boat go a lot faster, but they want to build something more foundationally solid. And so they were kind of referring it to a boat and how these big, cruise ships run. And it's like, these cruise ships aren't going 60 miles an hour, right?
No.
They're cruising. They're going, 15, 18, something like that, right? Knots or miles an hour, whatever.
It probably looks a lot slower just because of the
magnitude of it. Yeah, it's like 20 miles an hour is actually still, it's not like
you don't
it's
even feel that you're
slow,
moving,
but you don't even feel that you're moving. But they were mentioning that, and it really just caught on to what, even when I started Dinner with a Chef and even Chefpreneur, as we've kind of been working on this now for almost 5 years, it's like anything worthwhile is worth some patience and some things. The thing that I really wanted to kind of point out, and really what I want to provide value on a little bit, is the fact that when you're building something right, that part can take you a long time, just that part. But a lot of people don't do that, right? Like imagine if you had a canoe and you built it out of whatever, a couple floaty tubes and some duct tape. Probably not going to be something you want to sail into the ocean with. I mean, it's going to float, but one shark comes and, your mom's calling all over the place because she hasn't found you in 3 days because you're in somebody's belly in the ocean. For me, the biggest thing is like when you're building something properly, I think that's something that we really truly as Chefpreneur help chefs and cooks do, is building this business properly. And the growth of the business, yes, it does depend. Everything depends on you and the work that you effort, and what are you working towards, as well as what are you working on? Does it actually make sense with what you're working on? And again, that's where the coaching, the mentorship, and the guidance and the community comes in. However, when you're building something correctly, most people don't, and I'm not just even talking about chefs, I think it's just general business. A lot of people don't build the business correctly. So they end up, first of all, going out of order, and then they get frustrated, and it actually prolongs the time massively. But I always know this in my head, with any expectation that you do in any kind of business, I just believe that there's a level of patience to a degree that you have to build it right. Right. It's easy to get the quick wins and quick success. If you notice here in Chefpreneur, we're not like the overnight get rich quick scheme. We even say that in our challenge. Hey, this is not for like an overnight get rich quick scheme. This is not what we do. We want to help you guys build a real business, a real company that's going to have longevity, that's going to be able to put some roots down and actually be able to take off and have a solid foundation that's going to last a while. And I think that's the difference between Chefpreneur. I'm just gonna say it. Chefpreneur is the Harvard of, we are no affiliation. We have no affiliation with Harvard, by the way. I'm just using this as a metaphor, right? But we feel like we're the Harvard of helping passionate chefs and cooks really start and grow a personal chef business that's successful and that's built right, and that's a real business. And if you really think about it, Harvard they're obviously not like a get rich quick scheme overnight, right? They publish things in the Harvard Review. They say things. They're like, hey, this is our data. This is what we see. This is what we've helped. These are some of our alumni and what they've done. They're not sitting there trying to make claims. And the reason that is, and I'm not saying that we necessarily, that they don't make any claims, of course. I mean, Harvard's Harvard in the sense of they make claims that, hey, we're an Ivy League school. We have this, basically this reputation for over 100 years that we've been around. And Chefpreneur, we make claims as well. But again, the claims are that we've helped a lot of chefs build this business the right way. And we've seen a lot of success come from that. And sometimes that success is very short, right? Not short as in the success is short, I apologize, but it's a short time to get to that success. And other times, you go down that path. And again, this goes back to what a true program and what true education is all about. And I really believe, again, I wanted to talk about that because, and it kind of leads into some of the things that, and possibly there were some topics that you wanted to talk about, but even the video I sent you on Instagram, right? About the mayor of New York now wanting to limit meat and dairy and stuff like that. And again, we can get into all the politics of the freedoms and all that stuff in it, but it's really, for me, it's more of, again, you got to kind of look at things with a grain of salt sometimes in certain aspects, and what truly someone has for you as far as education. And again, we're not sitting here to debate, again, meat and dairy and all that stuff. You guys can go nuts in the comments and the chats. I'm looking at it more of like, okay, here's one person. First of all, we can't talk about the freedom. I don't like that. That's just like, don't tell me what to put in my own body in that sense, right? But when you really think about education, I talk about with our chefs as we coach and mentor them, it's like, really, like, we're not doing you a service if we're not allowing you to really understand how to put your life, your success, your goals, and what you're trying to do in your own hands with our help to guide you. I think that there's a lot of people out there that want to paint you this picture of being this, like, hey, I'm going to be your savior, grace, and I'm going to be your God. And Chefpreneur, we don't really approach things that way. Again, we know what we can help out with. We know that there is a lot of things that we can do for you. We have branding packages. We can build your website. We can build out a lot of the stuff. We just recently did an awesome Chefpreneur Day this last Friday with Chef Diego and his wife, Megan. And it was fantastic. And it's like, there's things that we can do for you. But again, real education and real coaching, in our opinion, is like, how do we empower you? I think that's the word that we like to use. Right. It's like, how do we empower you to really understand that the success is really in your hands? And like we say in the challenge, 89%, I just picked some random high number, but it's probably about accurate or more, 90+% is really about that mindset approach of understanding that in the first place. If we don't do that, if we don't empower you to say, you know what, this is something that you can do, we're just here to be your guide. We're here to give you that yellow brick road of the steps to follow that we know works, right? But we have to really empower you to say, I can actually do this. I'm actually good enough. I'm qualified enough. And then you have to make the decision on, am I going to have the patience to build a real company? And I think that's what I really wanted to really kind of get off my chest today, is like, it's such a fast world. Everything's so quick. And yes, we have bills that stack up. We have things that take, that need to be paid. But at the other end of the spectrum, it's like just as with my health, right? Like I've gone really not in a good headspace with my health before because straight up, like I expect this fast result overnight, but then it's like I've spent 37 years avoiding taking care of my body. And guess what? It's going to take a little bit of time to get it back to where it needs to be.
Right. It's like that economy you're talking about.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
quick to destroy, but it takes a long time to build it back up
Correct.
again.
And then at the same time, when we're looking at building a successful business and a successful company, because we've been through, let's say what it is, we've been through a lot of ups and downs, and honestly, a lot of it's not comfortable in Chefpreneur, right? The ups and downs we've had,
No.
but there's been so much learning going with that.
Yeah.
And then it allows us to build a better foundation, and it allows us to build a better understanding of what it needs to have the longevity. And so to carry out God's mission of like, hey, we're going to help 1 million people, it's like, well, that doesn't just happen in even 5 years. That's going to be a prolonged thing. So we have to build something that's going to last. We have to build something that's going to be something that's going to last. And with many of you, we talk about this all the time. If you're sitting here listening to the show today and you're saying, well, like I thought I already started my company, but then you really realize like, I want you to take almost like a litmus test of like, okay, how much time do I actually spend on building the business? How much time have I spent on building the business? How many books have you read about building a business? How many books have you read about finances? How many books have you read about marketing? And if all those things are 0, 0, 0, 0, you're not even at a side hustle, in my opinion, yet. And I'm not trying to say that to call anybody out. Or again, if you've invested into a program or coaching or mentorship that has allowed you to see those things and actually learn and educate yourself on how to build something that's more solid, foundationally true for the future, now you have the right mentality and you have the right mindset and you're serious. And I was talking to Armand, a member of a new member of our team our new member of our team. And we were discussing some things today, and we always look at different people that he's on the phone with as he's trying to give them clarity. We offer these clarity calls to give them clarity on what this opportunity is, but we're also kind of vetting people to say, what's their commitment level like? Do they really want to build a real business? If they don't, if they want to sell plates out the back of their car, they want to do a side hustle, hey, good for you. Go earn it, go hustle it, go make that side cash. We want to attract people that are really serious and ready and committed to say, I want to build a real business. And then what we're committed to do in turn for you is let's build you and help you build, whatever program you go with, let us help you build it or build it for you in some instances, a real company. And again, education sometimes is a fickle thing because true education is empowering somebody. It is giving them the recipe and the plan, but it's empowering them to understand that ultimately, again, their responsibility, their success is in their own hands. We're just here to equip you with the tools to get it done. I just had to get that kind of off my heart because I had a little bit more of epiphany today, like about that. And it's like, we have seen crazy results happen fast in our program. We have 6 months, people doing 15 plus, $1,000 a month and stuff like that. Are those typical all the time? No, but it actually really depends on you. That's really what it comes down to. It depends on you. Are you going to listen and follow to what the advice is that's been given? Are you going to educate yourself on that? And are you going to be strict and disciplined about, let me carry these things out? And I have found the people I've personally coached over the last 4.5 years, the people that fall off the most are the ones that completely throw away the method. They basically say, okay, I'm throwing the recipe away. I'm just going to go rogue. Or they have the recipe and they don't act on the recipe. Just like I've talk about my weight. I can't sit here and say I'm going to lose weight by reading a book.
Yeah.
It's one thing. That's the first step. That's great, is educating myself.
Or
on
they
it,
follow
but
that
taking
recipe,
action.
or they follow that recipe once, twice, 3 times, but then they end up thinking, oh, I'm going to toss my own kind of stuff in there and do it this way. And then eventually that recipe becomes something completely different.
Yeah.
And then it's not working anymore. And they're wondering why. Well, it's because you tried to add in a bunch of new ingredients and things that don't mesh well together, and they don't work, and they don't work well together. Or you end up changing your whole total goal in the outcome, and you don't change the recipe to get there.
Yeah.
right? Following a method that we provide as well. So I think to understand kind of what you're talking about, uh, let's go back. Let's go back a little bit to the beginning of Chefpreneur, or just thereafter, like kind of towards the beginning,
Yeah.
where things were starting to roll. You had gotten through doing some of that one-on-one mentorship with some of your first students,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then the course was getting built, and it was being being consumed by different people, and they were getting in there, and that was the coaching program online. They were listening to the 10 modules that we had, and they were learning and applying and doing, and we were seeing some of those results and things. But we still struggled at that time, about 3 years ago. It was a real struggle to convince people that this was the way to go. Like, this
Yeah.
was the future of chefs.
Yeah.
This was a better vehicle, and that the industry was just going to get worse and worse and worse. And that this was something that could really truly provide freedom and allow chefs to really experience what it means to be their own boss, have freedom, be able to spend time with their kids and their families, and get out of the industry and start to live a life that is new and abundant,
Yeah.
and gave them freedom to be creative, gave them
Yeah.
freedom to make choices and decisions for themselves, along with, of course, the financial freedom. But if we go back to that, I remember when we started, it was COVID, right? And it was a challenge to sell the program. It was a challenge to
Oh,
get people
yeah.
enrolled to become
Yeah.
students, and realize that even though we had success with students, and that they were coming and they were going, oh my God, I can't believe that. Like, I've made 3 times more than what I was making before. And I'm like, feel like I'm just getting started. Like, we've had people come to us that wasn't even about that. And it was more about like, my marriage is better. Like,
Yep.
or the fact that they got through an addiction, or different things, because they were able to get themselves out of the environment that was kind of breeding all of that
Yeah.
negativity and all of
It's
that bad
true.
stuff. And we had these beautiful testimonies, but it was a struggle. It was a struggle to let people see that it is possible for them as well.
Yeah.
And these people were people that they were just ready to take that risk, ready to jump. And it was like, we wanted to try to figure out, how do we get more people enrolled that they it's maybe they're not in a super dire situation,
Yeah.
right? But it's just the fact that, hey, this is just a better way,
Yeah.
better opportunity. And while we were somewhat struggling with that, COVID hit, and then we're like, hey, let's develop software. Right. And I think of this first and foremost because of what you're explaining
Mm-hmm.
about patience versus like taking action. But you need to be patient, and yeah, results can come quickly, but if they don't, like, you have to have patience. But I remember when we started developing Sue, our whole thing, and at least my thing was like, let's take what we think we can do in a year,
Mm-hmm.
and let's try to do it in 3 months. Remember?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
let's see what we can.
I remember we got inspired. I think it was
I think it
Elon.
was Elon.
It was
He
Elon that
said, you
was
have
inspiring.
to
Yeah.
you have to take
Yeah.
what you think you can do in a year or 3 years, and do it like in as little time as possible, which means we had some sleepless nights.
It's true.
There's a lot of times where I was waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and then I wasn't going to bed until 1, 2, 3 o'clock. We had meetings every single Saturday night for a
Man,
year.
it was crazy.
We got on
It's
a
crazy.
Zoom call, and you were in California. You would get on at 7 o'clock, and I
No,
would
it
get
was
on at
like,
like 10
yeah.
o'clock, or it
Yeah, it
was eight
was
o'clock and 11 o'clock, but it was
something
around
like
10 or
that.
11
Yeah, it
o'clock
was
for me.
later. Yeah. Yeah, it was a little earlier for me. Yeah.
And we would be on
We
those
were
phone
late.
calls for 2, 3, sometimes 4 hours,
Yeah. Yeah.
into the very early morning hours, creating,
Mm-hmm.
plotting out, like, how do we want the software to look? How do we want it?
Yeah.
What features do we want? What features do we think is going to help? Like, how do we make this thing to where it can help a chef that has been through our coaching and has learned our method to then be able to run the business based off of those principles,
Yeah.
right? And that whole first year we were doing that, and it was psycho. And we run ourselves ragged doing that entire year. But here's the thing, we did have the mentality, and this is the mentality you have to have with your business. You have to have a mentality of, what do I think I can do in a year with my business?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to try to do that in a month. I'm going to try to do that in 2 months. Right. And I'm not saying to go out and kill yourself about this, but to have that mentality to say, I think I can get to $15,000 a month in a year, and go, how can I get to $15,000 a month in the next 2 months? Right. But then on the flip side, having patience about the results. So I
Yes.
think a huge part of business and what has helped us so much, and especially this last year, we've made more progress this last year than we have in the entire span of Chefpreneur, with
Yeah.
the coaching program, with Accelerator, with the challenges that we're doing, and with the software,
Yeah.
is because we always approached it as, okay, our action is going to be like non-patient. We're going to take action, and we're going
Yeah.
to take it as quick
Yeah.
as humanly possible. We're not going to make rash decisions necessarily, but we are going to make decisions quickly, and we're just
Correct.
going to do. We're going to act. We're going to
Yeah.
have action. We're going to put that action behind our words, and we're going to go out there and we're just going to do it. And we might make some mistakes, make
Hmm.
some boo-boos, but we're going to learn from it and we're going to continue forward. But then we never came at it with an expectation that was, well, because we're acting fast and doing fast, we should be able to receive fast. It's
Correct.
we're acting fast and doing fast because that's what the market demands.
Yeah.
With the ever-changing pace of coaching and the online information space, technology, everything, plus probably more importantly, the need, because of
Yeah.
how COVID crushed the industry. COVID really shone this light for us that said we have to move fast, because there's a lot of chefs out there who need to know that this opportunity exists, who need to know that this vehicle can really provide for them the kind of life that they've only hoped and dreamed of, but have set aside because they thought the industry was the only way to go, because they thought being in a restaurant was the only way to go, secure, everything else. Now all of that went out the window
Yeah.
because there's no security in these jobs. I think
No,
somebody just posted the other,
I don't
or
think
they
there's
actually,
any. Yeah.
we just got a message from a chef who said, "Hey, I just got let go."
Yeah.
And they're
That was
trying
Josh. He's
now
in
they're
our
trying
program.
to figure
Yeah.
out,
He's in our
and
program.
it's like those things happen really quickly. So we know we have to act fast,
Yeah.
but
It's true.
we've always had the patience to say, you know what, like the results might not be coming, but we're not going to stop. We're not going to slow
Yeah.
down. We're going to continue pressing forward. We're going to be patient about results. We're not going to be patient about helping people or about trying things or changing things or doing things, but we do have to be patient about
Correct.
the potential
Correct.
results.
And I think that's the whole thing too, is like when you really look at our program, right? Like not I mean Sue, yes, as well, but I'm saying like just
Everything.
our core method, right?
Mhm.
Like our chefpreneur method. That's the boat. That's the massive boat that we have. That's the foundational thing that we know is solid. Better experience for the students, more information as it comes out, up to date information, continual coaching, continual growing.
Right.
Those are those things that we're so quick on.
Right.
And I think that again, like it's funny you mentioned that. Like again, you guys know that I'm a metaphor king. I love metaphors. If you look at a salvage title car, which, excuse me, I think that salvage title cars sometimes, some of them are a little bit like, are they really salvage, right? Because they just have to legally. But let's just say, like, most times if you buy a car and a mechanic checks the chassis, and the chassis is directly, like, it's just solid, it's in line.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a dent on this door, there's a crack on this windshield, there's a dent in the hood, there's a big old, I don't know, crowbar thing looking on the trunk. Like, does that really affect the way the car drives? No, it doesn't. The chassis is really important. The foundation's important.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a lesson that if you guys want to write this down, like, your foundation of your business is super important. The fundamental foundation of what it's built on is the most important thing. Think about a house. No one goes into a house wanting to redo the foundation. Why? Because you're going to have to rip up a lot of stuff to redo a foundation. Most of the time, hey, you want to change the paint colors, change the paint colors. You want to put a different kind of siding on the side of the house. You want to put a new roof on it. You want to update your deck. You want to whatever. You want to blow out a wall and, make it an open concept. What's funny is, though, is the foundation that all that is sitting on is supposed to last years and years and years and years when you build a house. That's why it's so important to build that proper foundation. And that's the one thing that we're not saying, that we're really good at actually building that quickly. But I'm saying, like, that's the one thing that if you're going to focus on your time, you want to build that foundation. And all these other things that you're saying, all these like even Sue, we built the foundation quickly. But like you said, we weren't looking for some overnight slam dunk success. I mean, we didn't even really have anybody on it for like what, over a year?
We didn't have anybody
almost
on it for over a year. And then when we did put it out there, we only put it out there to those who attended the retreat, right? Just to kind of try to get some kind of user feedback and people using it so we can make adjustments a little faster
Yeah.
and know what the experience is like for them and get their perceptions, because we miss things, right? Like when we're
Oh yeah.
building,
Oh
we
yeah.
get, we miss things.
Oh yeah.
And then we only really had like a couple, one or two, who actually utilized it pretty fully, right? And we started learning things and changing things, and that was like a whole version 1.0 of Sue, which looks totally different than what it does now. Because then once we started getting that feedback, here's the thing, and this is important for all of you listening as well, and this is something that we constantly practice. And the reason why we're able to move fast, because you might be sitting here wondering, well, how do you move so quickly when I've got this happening over here and I need to, I'm still in my job part-time or full-time and I've got
Yeah.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
How do I move so fast without killing myself? Because that would mean that I'd have to stay up until 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, because then my kids are at least finally asleep. But then that means I'm getting like 4 hours of sleep, and I can't, I
I
can't do that. I
I
struggle with that.
I know the answer. Can I say the answer?
Um, yeah, well, the answer is that we have gotten our own roadmaps and blueprints from people,
Yeah.
right? We've went and we've actually invested with people who helped us to figure out, how do you do a challenge and structure it all so that it can actually provide the impact to people that we want, and provide
Yeah.
an experience that is well enough that it's like we can get the information to them, we can get it to where it's they're able to take action on it, they're able to do things with it, and without trying to figure out every single step and wasting a bunch of time or spending a bunch of time that we just don't have in our corner,
Correct.
because time is money.
Correct.
And so we decided, well, we'd rather spend the money up front, sometimes that we had or didn't have, and figure out
Yeah.
a way to do that so that we can get our time back, get what we needed in a way that we knew was correct,
Yeah.
right, for the business, and then be able to act on it. Somebody telling us what we
Yeah.
needed to do.
Exactly.
Tell us what we
Yeah.
need to do, and then we would go do it. That is why we have our challenges as well, because somewhere along the line, somebody came to us and said, you want to be able to train and coach people and help people at scale quickly and allow them to go and do the things that you're saying is the things that will change their lives and everything. You need to get them onto a live training. You make it free, you get them the information, right? So that you can start to change the industry, because that's your goal, right, guys? And yeah, that's our goal. Okay, well, that's a big goal. Here's how you do it. And they gave us the blueprint, gave us everything, and then we took action on it and we did it. And we have the challenge.
Yeah.
Much like anything else with the accelerator program, there's things that you learn about how to structure the accelerator program, with like filming you're sharing the screen, sharing the templates, going through and actually doing the training that is in a way easy for people, all the chefs online, to easily digest.
Yeah.
Right, the group coaching calls are structured in a way that you're able to take their questions, answer them, and then have that open dialogue. It's really structured in a particular way, because why? Well, we've learned everything that we have from other people who have done it and have a proven record, right, of success, that said, I do it this way because it actually works.
Yeah.
Okay, well then we're going to do it that way
Yep.
because it actually works, and it works for the people that we're trying to serve, which
Kind
is
of
you
said
guys.
that better myself. And honestly, Brock, like half the battle, especially like with something that you just don't know, like you knew support. You were, this guy, by the way, is Brock here is like the support guru, man. He knows a lot about how to structure it, how to organize a team with it. I mean, that's not your only thing that you do, I'm saying, but like he's really good at that. I'm really good at coaching people in this particular niche, in this particular topic of this business. That's, a couple of my strengths. But the biggest thing is the things that we don't know, right? It's like, again, going back to the house metaphor, in a kind of what I think Brock is saying as well, like it matches up with what you're saying. Again, to build that house, imagine if you're a builder, a house builder, and like the house builder is asking you, where do you want to build a house? And you're like, I don't know where to build this house. I don't even know where to start. And the builder's like, but where, like one of the first things you need is like, where do you want to build it? Many of you are sitting there. You don't know how to start this business. You don't know where to even start. You don't know what that means to say you need a solid foundation in your business. And just in pillar 1 in our program, that's literally what we do. We help you build this foundation in your business. And most chefs that I talk to, that's their number one concern. They think their number one concern is how do I find more clients? And I'm thinking like, you're trying to get someone to move in the house and you haven't even built the house yet. What are you going to do? Like rent out the lawn? Like it's not going to work. And so many people think that that's what that is. It's like, oh, I just need to find more leads. If I blast some stuff out on social media, then you're missing a huge piece of it. And as Brock is basically saying, we've invested to learn foundational principles of what to do to help people in a specific kind of coaching and mentorship type of organization to help you guys really win. Now, this is based upon our expertise and experience in building a personal chef business that's successful. Of course, we can't build something that we've never built before. We can't help you build something we've never built before. That doesn't make any sense. We wouldn't be really good mentors or coaches or any of that, right? Here's the thing. Again, I want to, it sounds contradictory because in our challenge, we do say done beats perfect, but done beats perfect only when you know and have something to work on. Here's what I mean by that. It's like, man, let me try to give you even again, I'm a metaphor guy, right? If anybody's ever been to Hawaii, I've been blessed to go to Hawaii to cook for some people. And I went to the island of, no, not Lanai, Kauai. Okay. They call it the Garden Island. It's gorgeous. It's so beautiful. Everybody there literally says this is the most beautiful island of all the Hawaiian islands. I've never been anywhere else. Okay, imagine if you landed at the airport, which is, I think, Lahui, and you get to the airport and someone just had like this mat here on my desk. Imagine if somebody hands you this and it's a map. It's a map to treasure. And it just says Lahui, and then over here it says treasure, and there's just a line. And it shows the outline of the island, but there's not a lot of details. Okay. There's different levels of understanding of how to go about it, right? Like the more detailed the path, the easier it is to follow. So like, I'm actually just going to say it right now. Our 5-day challenge is incredible. We help you try to find your first or next client. That's what we help you do. But even in the challenge, I'll give you away some secrets here. We literally will tell you, we're helping you find, it's like we're telling you like where one part of the line on the roadmap, like, oh, you're going to go across this one mountain that's called this. But imagine if you had like a map of Hawaii, but there was no names on it. There was no natural references. There was no mountains. There was no, hey, this is this highway running this way. There's a little grocery store in this corner. You're going to go around that. Like there's nothing. It's just a line from the airport to the treasure, and it's squiggly. Like you're almost like this map wouldn't even do any good. And so the reason I'm saying all this is, again, people don't even know where to start. So some people might say, well, yeah, I do. I just need to put some social media out there and I'll get some clients. No, if you think that, you're having that map I just talked about, that you're where you are and you think going to business is just some squiggly line from here to where you want to go with some social media involved. Okay. The real truth of it is the basic foundation is we literally give you the map that says, okay, first stop, you're going to see the store on the right-hand side in 2.1 miles, like literally, like, so you see the map, but then there's actually words on the map saying in 2.1 miles, you're going to do this, just like a Google map. And we're giving you this detailed directions to get where do you want to go. And a lot of people, again, they don't have these foundational principles. And so like, even with Sue, we had this concept, we knew what we wanted the software to do. And we had like Brock, by the grace of God, that's a whole God story that maybe we'll do a whole podcast about that on another podcast, or Chefpreneur Show, is like we had these amazing developers that knew how to build software, and we had an idea of this, but there was still some gaps there because the developers were like, hey, we know how to code and we know how to get your guys' intake, but like maybe there's some structure here that we don't have. And I believe that our Sue software got a heck of a lot better when we contracted Kevin to come in. And basically, what did he do? He frameworked and gave us a plan of like, this is how it should be laid out. And then our developers like, now we get it. Now we see the map more clear. And Kevin just came in and filled in some more of the details of what we need to do. And then Brock and the team have been doing a phenomenal job by taking feedback and all that. But now we have a solid foundation to work off of. And many of you guys in your business, or if you want to start a business, you don't have a solid foundation. And you might underestimate that. I keep repeating myself, and I'm going to repeat myself over and over because it's so important. And the more I discuss it, and the more I pray about it, and the more I think about it, it's like, it's honestly the same with like when you read the word of God, you got to know some basic principles of understanding like what Jesus did for you on the cross, like what salvation actually means, getting revelation on that foundational understanding of, man, Jesus took my place at the cross. Like, what's funny is that right there itself opens up all the doors for all the blessings that come with that. But you have to have that revelation first to say, this is the fundamentals of, man, Jesus died for me and I have everything through him. I don't know what that means. Well, if you don't know what that means, unfortunately, it's going to be really hard for you to benefit from all the things that come with that, right? Same thing again in your business. And I feel like I'm kind of like teaching and preaching here, but so many times, and myself included, again, I am guilty of this. We all want something quick. We all want to do something. I did my exercises today that Charlie gave me, and I went up the hill and did a good four times up the hill, and I did my little 12-minute walk first, and then I sat there and he gave me a list of mobility. This is gonna sound funny, but like, it's dynamic mobility is what he calls it, right? And I'm looking at these things, and it's literally do 2 sets of 5 wrist circles. So I literally just go like this.
Okay, that's all you do.
Okay.
Mine pop.
Yeah. And then he goes, all right, then you're going to do 2 sets of 5 each arm circles.
Yeah.
And he says,
those
not
really start to get your shoulders like they.
Yeah. But I mean 5 times, but he says, do like this, and then you can go bigger, right? You go bigger. Mm-hmm. And then I do ankle circles, literally. So I sit down and I do one ankle at a time. Yeah, I feel like I'm doing the Dougie. and I'm looking at him, and here's what he says. Here's what he said. And it blew my mind. It's literally what I'm preaching right now, because I don't know what I don't know about fitness. So for me, it's like, no, I got to just get up a hill, right? Just huff and puff and get some sweat, and boom, here's my workout. And he's like, wrong. First of all, you got to have the basic foundations. Do you know how to stretch? Because if you don't stretch, what's going to happen is you're going to go up the hill, you're going to pull a muscle, and guess what? You're not going to work out for a whole week because you're going to be in pain, and you shouldn't, because you're going to have to let it heal. Or when you go back to the mobility, which I felt silly because I was literally outside this morning going like this. Now, I mean, I do that as I'm walking too. Like he says, you can kind of combine some of the stuff while you're walking, and I did. So I'm walking down the sidewalk like this, and cars are probably passing by like,
I knew
this guy's a little bit.
There's something weird about that guy.
Yeah. But this is what he said. All that does is get your body moving, and it works the joints in a healthy way to increase blood flow. If you increase blood flow, it minimizes cramping. If you increase blood flow, it's better for your health. It gets more toxins out when you exercise. And I'm like, I look at him. He's extremely fit, extremely in shape, does this every day, disciplined. Here's the last piece of advice. Make sure you're following a treasure map or a roadmap from somebody who has results, who knows where the treasure's at and how to get there. And that's what I was talking to him about before he left back to Germany. And I'm like, I'm looking at these mobility, and I feel a little silly. But you know what's funny is after I do them, I feel so loose and I feel good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, like I don't feel like I'm getting cramped up in my back, and I'm not like I used to be, because I'm moving my body. And that's why I said, dude, don't just hit the hill. Go on a walk like we did the other day, because Brock did it with me the other day.
Yeah,
simple. And he doesn't break sweats. I do, but it's okay. That's good. Whatever.
I look shiny usually, but I'm not like sweating. But
correct.
I do get shiny.
Right.
I do get shiny.
But here's the thing, like that's the whole plan. So it's not counterintuitive. It's like building those foundations are just fundamentally important. Same with him. He coaches people with tennis. Like, again, I can go on and on about anything in life, right? Like, it's kind of like, because I said, like, how do you start learning tennis is like the fundamentals. Like, I said, like, how to hit the ball. He goes, you don't even start with hitting the ball. He's like, learning how to properly run to the ball. I'm like, there's a way you run to the ball. He's like, yeah, you don't just run to the ball. You have to move a certain way so that when the ball's coming, you're in position to hit the ball.
Right.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
That makes
oh, I
sense.
mean, it kind of blew my
It's a
mind. Like,
technique.
what?
Yeah.
You know, I don't just run to where the ball's at and try to hit it. He's like, no, that's like, you'd look like an idiot out there. And I'm like, that I probably would look like an idiot out there. He was like, no, you have to learn. Like, he's like, some of the drills that we do is just literally how to, like, first how to hold the racket, how to position your body. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So these types of things, again, it's like, you know, foundations, education, empowering you. It's like, we want to empower you, give you the tools. We want to give you the roadmap. And yes, done beats perfect when you have a map, when you have a roadmap, when you have a process to follow. Then, like Brock says, you can definitely try to go as fast as you want, as fast as you can, but just don't hinder the foundation.
The biggest part sometimes of a roadmap is, like, anybody here who's listening, because we've got, so, you know, we've got a lot of activity going on in the chest. Anybody here, you ever started something and like just gave up? Like, you ever started something and you're like, I really want to, I think I really want to do this.
Have you ever?
Up. Like, yeah, like band, like band.
Yeah.
In middle school, I like started it and then I gave up. Trying to learn piano, started it and then I gave up. Right? There's been things that I've started and then I gave up on. Well, here's the thing. In order to get through anything, you have to be fully committed. Like, even with the roadmap, the thing is, you have to know,
100%.
you have to know what your big goal is, what your dream is, and you have to visualize it, and you have to have that really clear vision, and then you have to be really committed to getting there. So if there's going to be problems in your way, because there's always going to be problems, you're going to encounter something always comes up.
Yeah.
It's like when I used to work with my dad on the car, and you're thinking, oh, I just need to change the oil. That's simple. Never assume it's just going to be this simple, oh, quick, done. Something's always going to happen. The filter's going to be on too tight, and you're going to have to figure out how to get that thing
and
off.
Then it's spewing out everywhere.
Or the bolt's going to get stripped, and then you're going to have to, it's going to turn into a several hour project. Never assume it's just going to be simple. You have to always assume that there's going to be problems that come along, and that's okay. The problems are not the problems. It's your commitment to solving those problems and getting past those to get to your goal or your dream. That's the problem. Yeah. If you are not committed to solving those problems to get from where you are to where you want to be, then you're going to struggle and it's going to be hard. So having that map plus that commitment is going to allow you to get through any problems that come along the way and continue driving yourself towards and getting to actually arriving to that treasure.
Yeah,
that you're talking about.
That's so good, Brock. Like, it's so true. And again, it's like, you're gonna run into those roadblocks because, again, like using the treasure example in Hawaii, we're trying to find the treasure. We're probably gonna come across a wild boar or some level of, okay, I see it on this map, but holy crap, this is a river. Like, how do I get past this river that's flowing down strong? There's going to be setbacks, and the thing is that that's why it's important to do these things with the community, with experts, people that can guide you. Because if you don't, you'll have really a lot of issues. You'll have issues, first of all, like you need the guidance, period. And like we talked about, you know, I'm training right now Armand on how to kind of, again, give some coaching and value even on these clarity calls. And I'm telling him, like, we need to educate them on what this opportunity is, how we can really help them, because we have that roadmap. But the biggest thing is, what I'm teaching him is, we're helping them make a decision. We're helping them make a decision. I told him, we don't really need to convince. Really, that's not our position. A lot of times our position needs to be, hey, how do we come to a decision? And we want to empower you on how to make the best decision for your situation and where you're at. We believe the best decision is to always invest in yourself and do and follow the dream that you've been probably wanting to do and start a business for, like, what, 10 years? Because I mean, I talked to a lot of you. I was doing so many of these clarity calls, and I would ask them, how long have you wanted to do this business? And they're like, 8 years. And I'm like, holy cow, 8 years. Like, how come you haven't even pulled the trigger yet? Like, and I even tell Armand to be so bold, like, even if they don't go with us, like, just make a decision. At some point, the decision has to be made. And I say that very, very straightforwardly, because at the end of the day, it gets us to think as human beings, like, I do need to make a decision, and I'm being lofty, or I'm being kind of waffly right now. And the same with my health. Like, I had to make a decision. Like, I need to actually make the decision. And as Brock said so eloquently, commitment. It's funny that you mentioned that, because even on our calls, our clarity calls, we literally a lot of times ask you on some of these calls, like, what is your commitment level to like getting, like, building your business? Like, is it an 8? And if it's an 8, we try to get you to a 10. But if we're falsely getting you into a 10, it's like, you're not ready yet. We want you to be a 10 out of 10. And so, like, it's just funny how you mentioned commitment, because it's true. Like, things are going to come up. You have to be committed. And then that's why, again, you surround yourself with people that are going to help you move. I wanted to point out something here in the chat. Brock, do you mind going up a little bit here? I think there was a Chef Josh. Chef Josh, are you still watching right now? Chef Josh, where is he at?
Oh, here.
There it is. Chef Josh Carrillo. Are you still on, Chef? You said that you want to get started. Listen, we'd love to have a clarity call with you. There's a link on the bottom of this video that you can schedule a call with our team.
Yeah, I've literally been asking how to get started. That's usually what we're all asking, when we start anything. It's like, how the hell do I get started?
Literally, that's 90% of people I talk to, because they just don't, like, I didn't know when I got started. I wish that I tell as weird as this sounds, I wish I had Chefpreneur when I started. Like, I wish there was something out there like Chefpreneur where there was a Chef Andres and Brock. It's weird. I'm not trying to talk about myself in the third person. Technically, it's like, I wish there was a program that was going to give me the roadmap, that had an amazing community, that was the Harvard of this, like, not in that as an arrogant way, but like, really are hard at Chefpreneur. The reason why we're the Harvard is not because of, we're fancy, and it's the reason why we're the Harvard is because we believe, like, I don't believe there's anybody out there that cares more about helping you succeed than we do. That I'm going to put that out there. And that's a very bold statement to make right here in front of everybody. I think you'd agree with that, right, Brock? I mean, do you know anybody who's wanting to take it to the level we have? The amount of pain and sacrifice we've been through, and we don't need it. We're not
if
trying
they only knew.
We're not trying to build ourselves up, right? We're not trying to build ourselves up, but it's just true.
I'd like to talk about a few trends that I was seeing today that I think is a huge reason just to do this business in general.
Okay.
Love it. Not for any other reason other than starting the business. Like, however you want to start the business, just to start it. All right. So this is going through, there are key food and beverage industry trends. And this is really a projection for 2023 through 2026. So the next 3 years.
Wow. And what is this from?
This is from a website called Exploding Topics.
Okay.
Okay. And this article is written just this April. So basically, all right. So you want to know I want you to guess. What do you think the size of the U.S. food and beverage space is? How much money is the food and beverage space? Would any of you guys want to take a guess how much money you think the food and beverage industry is worth?
Food and beverage, I mean, it has to be a lot. I'm going to say, I don't know, 15 billion.
Not even close. You're a fraction.
Oh, geez. Man, really?
Yep.
100 billion?
Nope. Still a fraction. $7.44 trillion.
Good God.
Almost $7.5 trillion. Now, if you guys want to know what a trillion with
like, a T, like
go to Google and look up, like, what does $1 trillion look like? Try to find like a visual representation of like money stacks on pallets, and it's probably like the size of Texas. Yeah, seriously, like pallets of money, probably the size of Texas. That's how large that's the U.S. food and beverage.
That's
space.
just the U.S. alone. So that's not including like other countries.
Unless they made a mistake and said trillion instead of billion, but I have a hard time.
Well, what did you say it was? The 7?
7.4.
Well, it's definitely, you know what? I lowballed that. Yeah, it's definitely more than 7 billion. So I'm assuming they're meaning
it's the total U.S. food and beverage space. Okay, so let me dive into some of these things. Okay,
7 trillion. Good.
All right. The industry is really heavily investing in e-commerce, robotics, and technology.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I think some of you guys probably know where I'm going with this already. All right. Here's something that was interesting to me. Searches for food delivery app increased by 86% over the last 5 years. You want to know why that kind of stood out to me? That it's a food delivery app. Not that food delivery, quote unquote, has anything to do with like personal chef or kind of like that. Like, obviously there is food delivery within the space. There's meal prep. There's meal delivery, things like that. But the reason why this stands out to me, and this is important for you guys to know, and this is why you guys should expand your mind and kind of start looking at some of these macro trends and things with the industry, is because if people are searching for food delivery app, you have to get into the mental space, the psychology of that. They're looking for something that is
At home.
convenient and at home. Exactly. And if they're looking for a food delivery app, yes, they're looking for, hey, can I get Grubhub to deliver to me? Can I get Instacart to deliver groceries to me from the grocery store? You're thinking, what does it have to do with personal chef? Well, if they're looking for that, that is only a step away from looking for a personal chef.
Yeah.
This is heading towards that whole macro shift in the industry.
It's crazy.
That's what's happening in the industry, is that people are starting to look for new and different experiences than going to a restaurant or going through fast food or even going to the grocery store themselves, because that's also something that we teach within the program. And that's something you have to do as a personal chef, is you are going and shopping for the food for the client. What does that sound like? That sounds a little bit like a little bit of food delivery. So I don't think that it's too far off. I think it's very related. And so that's one thing.
No, that's a huge drop. I mean, that's almost double.
Here's another
right?
thing. Yeah. US online grocery sales are projected to hit $187 billion in 2024.
Wow.
And one reason is because of COVID. To avoid the virus, things like that, sickness, from people, and what their thing is, many consumers ordered food online for the first time, right? So that also really propelled everything around technology and having an experience that is not in a restaurant, right? Because during COVID, the experience was, I mean, we saw it, the personal chef industry exploded along with that, which should be in here, to be honest. But again, it's an up and coming industry. It's still in its infancy.
The big food companies, we're kind of renegades.
Yeah, it's still in its infancy, but that's the beauty, and that's the advantage that we have by being on the wave before it overtakes.
Well, in 2020, when the pandemic hit, right, I was still living in California, but majority of our personal chef company, or the business of that, services are still done in San Diego, and California was shut down. I mean, it was very strict in California during COVID. And can I even say that on YouTube? COVID or pandemic? What do I say? Okay. I don't know if they're gonna cancel me, but you never know.
If they do, they do.
Yeah, if they do, they do. We'll find somewhere else to do the show. But here's the thing: we had an uptick. So like in 2020, what was it, like mid-March? I think, right? Is really kind of when this all went down. It was a solid like 2.5 months. Honestly, a lot of events canceled on us in Dinner with the Chef, because of the fact that, I mean, there was no travel. There was no, people were, a lot of people visited San Diego that time of year, starting kind of March and on towards the summer. But what was crazy is towards we still ended up the year like over 25% above sales from the year before. And what we really found is that people that booked us after that kind of initial 3 months, we started getting some leads trickling in, and a lot of the people that were on these calls were saying
they're first timers, weren't they?
They were first timers. Yeah. We've never had a personal chef. And then Chef Daniel, who was cooking a lot of those events, and I was cooking as well, but Chef Daniel much more, he was basically even also saying like, man, a lot of the people were like, oh my God, it's our first experience we had. Like, why didn't we do this like years ago? This is even better than a restaurant. And I like, again, these light bulbs just kept going off. Yep. What was crazy is we were already in Chefpreneur, right? We were about, now I will say, how do you say it? Tis when you're saying, hey, like I told you so. What do you say?
I don't know.
I don't know what that word means. Anyway, it's not important. Anyway, I didn't want to say I told you so to some people, but in 2019, I remember talking to, again, Chefpreneur was just kind of, again, we had the program. We're just getting, I think it's like tis or something. I don't know. I'll look it up, and maybe that's it. I don't know.
I don't know.
Come on. You're smart on that stuff, man. You gotta know. But anyway,
I'm not hip anymore.
I know, right? We're like, whatever. I mean, I'm not.
I'm hip, actually. I'm still hip. I'm pretty hip.
Yeah, I'm hip too. I got really strong hips. So in 2019, I was starting to coach some chefs already. And I remember a couple of them were like, well, I'm going to wait. And, I got a good job. And I just got a new chef job and a new sous chef job. I'm like, okay. And then boom, 2020, the pandemic thing hits. And all of a sudden, like, well, we were building software. We were kind of being the pirates and the crazy people that were like literally I was in my garage at night, but all of a sudden, I also started to see an increase in chefs coming to us and saying like, oh man, I got to start this business. I should have started it last year, yada, 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 yada. And then all of a sudden I was like, yeah, but it's okay. Like you can start now. Right. And we tell people all the time, like the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time is today. Right. So like if you if you have a dream, if you're trying to follow, if you're wanting to really follow your dream and really accomplish and have a really good business, that this business is not going anywhere. Like as Brock just read some data, the data is astounding, and data numbers don't lie in that sense. And is this direct data like Brock said about personal chefing? No, but it just really shows you that people are wanting more experiences at home.
Yep.
We're seeing an uptick in it. It's not slowing down.
Well, we're in a very unique period in history where technology is increasing at the fastest pace ever. I mean, AI is insane. It's scary, but all of these technological advances are affecting how people are consuming. Yeah. And I believe that it's been something that has been going on for the last 2 decades. But sometimes the results and what you see in the shift in culture, like you said early on in this show, is that the economy, it takes a long time to build an economy up and make it super strong, but it's instant to destroy. Well, over the last 2 decades, it might have taken a long time to shift the culture, because an economy, there's culture in the economy, there's production in the economy.
There is, yeah.
But culture is a huge thing, and you see cultural trends happening. And a lot of times all we hear about is trends of fashion and trends of the memes and, the style of video that people put on TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
But the trends that matter to us are the trends that are happening within the restaurant industry, within the food and beverage space, right? Within consumerism around food in the experience that people have with it.
Yeah.
You're seeing also things where it's a massive shift towards plant-based eating, veganism. Like all those things are really starting to take off, and people are becoming more keen and aware of healthy eating, because they're becoming more keen and aware of the crap that is in all different kinds of foods.
Yeah. Yeah.
All these things affect how people consume. And so therefore it is in our best interest to pay attention to that, be aware of it, and then to take advantage of it.
Yeah.
And be ready with it by, like you're saying, if you had an inkling to even start the business, start it.
Yeah.
Take action, make a step, and start going.
Even if it's not with us, we'd love to have it. But
yeah, it doesn't. I mean,
just go.
And we're going to be here, and you guys know what we do now, and you know what we're about, and you can go find us. Like we don't have to pitch anything. We don't have to sell anything. You guys know what we're about. All right. So the question is, what are you about, and what do you want, and what is your commitment to solving the problem? Not what is your commitment to getting a coach or getting help or getting a program. It's what is your commitment to solving the problem. And that's going to help you make decisions that you never thought to maybe even make before. It's going to help you be resourceful to where you never thought or imagined you being that resourceful.
Yeah.
You might be looking at, I'm terrible with finances, but because you're so committed to solving the problem and to getting to that dream place and that dream person that you want to be, you will find yourself becoming resourceful and becoming more financially literate, becoming more business savvy. Like anything that you know that you need to do, you'll surprise yourself.
Yeah.
I bet you some of you guys out there right now have, if you just look back to this last year, even from the beginning of this year, you're probably looking and going, I really have done some things this year that I never really kind of thought I would have done from last year. And it's amazing. And wow, what a confidence booster.
Yeah.
Like to look back and go, this is where I was and this is where I am now. Sometimes you have to do that. You have to take a moment, look back at where you've come and what you've accomplished, and you might feel like you're still so far from your goal or your dream, but yet you're still so far from where you were and who you were. And now you're this new person, this new being, and this new way of thinking. And you really had this shift in a new mentality. And take all that confidence that you get from that, because it's huge. And I know that I know that a lot of people have done that.
I love that, Brock. And I'm going to say this just to kind of, as we come to a close today as well, everything is pointing the direction. Again, I don't have a crystal ball. We don't have a crystal ball, but if we look at the data, if we look at the research, if we look at what's going on, I'm going to give you guys a prediction. What's funny is it was kind of weird because I did the first challenge I ever did. It was actually a 14-day challenge. It was pretty intense. And actually, Brock and I went to this conference, and it was a marketing conference and business. It's not just marketing, business all around. It was great in Nashville, and on my way back home to San Diego at the time, I said, I got to do like a challenge. People are doing challenges and all that. And I did my first one. And actually we charged $50 for it, something like that, 49 bucks. And we had a decent amount of people sign up. And when I was doing that challenge, literally, you can see the recording. I literally say, very shortly, something's going to happen. And there's going to be a huge shift in the industry. It had to
this is the future. The personal chef
industry is the future. And it was really weird because literally like a month later, this pandemic thing played out. It was crazy. And I don't think it was coincidence. I mean, I was saying that already, but it really was stronger within that challenge. I really made a statement of it. And the glory goes to God. I mean, I'm not that intelligent to predict anything, but like, here's the thing that I'm going to make my own prediction on this is that this industry has not slowed down. And honestly, AI and things like that. I mean, if you're a administrational assistant right now, AI is a big problem for you. If you're, somebody in some tech space, depending on what the tech is, or a mathematician, or, AI, again, might come for you depending.
Well, there is something here.
Okay. Hold on. Before we get to that.
Okay. I'll let you go.
Don't look. I won't look.
Don't look.
But a lot, in my own opinion, there's a connectivity that happens when someone cooks. And I really do believe that we are pretty far away from an AI. An AI can cook, meaning can drop fries in a basket of oil, right? Or whatever. But I'm saying like tasting food and showing people love. Here's the thing. A lot of restaurants have taken shortcuts of hiring AI robotics to even be waiters and waitresses in a restaurant. And I don't know about you, but like, I like people. I want to talk to somebody. I want to listen to what they have to say about the dishes and explain it to me. Like, if a robot pulled up to my table, me personally, I'm maybe some of you guys get a kick out of it. I would not want some robot coming and taking my order. This is just weird for me. Okay. If I'm pulling up to a vending machine or something like that, and I want a sandwich really quick, yeah, give me the robotic arm to get the sandwich off the shelf and throw it in a bin. But for me, like on a personal experience, and why are restaurants having to do this? Well, they're trying to find solutions for them to cut the labor, to cut people. The problem, I think, though, is that that's part of the product is the people. Fast food chains, maybe not, right? Yep. It's just more about being fast, and here's your whatever sodium packed, GMO packed, garbage that doesn't rot after 6 months burger.
Yeah.
But for me, it's more of like, I want people. I want to be involved in that. And there's a lot of things on the tech side that can help you. For instance, our software, Sue software, we're obviously trying to build it for you guys to run your business more efficiently and be able to keep track. But
it's a software that helps to enhance.
Correct.
What you do, not replace what you do.
Exactly. Right.
Necessarily.
So everything is to enhance. And so again, we might be the last hope. If a lot of restaurants shut down, they go AI, they go robotic,
Yeah, listen to this.
Let me hear what you have to say.
Because I agree with you 100% on all that stuff. So I wasn't disagreeing or anything. Except for like, some of you are going, well, we're so far away from that. I mean, what were the thoughts of some of these chefs before COVID hit? It was, I got time. And then all of a sudden you have no time.
It's true.
Right. And what took you 8 years of thinking you're wanting to do, right? Suddenly it's like, I should have done that last year, the year before, 5 years ago. So yeah, more robot kitchen assistants. So there is one called Flippy. They call this robot Flippy.
Flippy.
I don't know if it's a he or a she, but it's Flippy. It's
Flippy. Okay, that's interesting.
Gender neutral robot. Flippy has 2 specialties: flipping hamburgers and working the fryer. It can work an entire grill or bank of fryers by itself, including cleanup and tool switching.
Okay.
And it's AI. So since it's AI powered, it's actually always learning and improving. And it can even pick up new skills over time. Now, here's the funny part, because as I was reading that, I was literally thinking to myself, I wonder how soon we'll start to see actual AI robotics to a level in which we're like, this is becoming more commonplace, right? Rather than, oh, it's kind of like unique, one-off. But this is what it says. It says it's been installed in locations like LA Dodger Stadium, Arizona Diamondbacks Chase Field, and 2 Cali Burger restaurants. Okay. So those are big places.
Yeah.
Serving lots of people. And I know it's only a matter of time before robots actually start entering kitchens, even kitchens of restaurants that would have been otherwise known for their service and for the high level of food.
Yeah.
Because as this stuff becomes more intelligent and restaurants start to decide, well, let me try it out. Let me make that investment. Let me cut back costs. Let me do that. It will reduce that. Now, on the flip side, this is also my belief system, but also our belief system. And this is how I approach it with support, right? Support's an easy thing to do because tons of support people are being replaced by robots and chatbots and, online help and email and everything digital to where there's not even a person involved, right? Google, try to get a hold of Google, try to get a hold of Facebook, try to get a hold of some of these big, large tech companies. I'm sure some of you guys have different tech things that you use or platforms or things that you've had at your work or whatever. And you literally can't get a live person on the phone. That's going to become more commonplace. But what we believe and what I will always believe is that actually good for some of these companies deciding to do that, because our company will never do that. Like we will never go full robot and chatbot. We will always have a live person, because I know, and this is maybe a prediction for me, and what I'm feeling is a prediction, is that human connection will become the luxury.
Exactly. It already is. It's been like that for years.
It is a luxury, but it will actually become known for that, because everything underneath that will all be AI, robot, chatbot. It's, smart computer, like people aren't actually involved.
Yeah.
Right. And then a human connection will actually be like this huge high level of service. Yeah. It's like everybody will seek after it, because it's just how we're built as human beings.
Correct. Yeah.
We want to have that human interaction.
Yeah.
So if robots come to restaurants with still that human touch and that human connection will become the luxury. But there will be a huge gap now.
Yep.
Between, there won't be a middle.
Yep.
It'll be those who are human touch, high touch, and those who are robots and AI and machines.
And I believe that makes it a huge gap,
which
for
is
us
weird to talk about.
I
feel like we're in the Terminator a little bit.
I know.
Like
and
like
you know what?
But
here's the thing. Kind of going piggyback off of what you just said. The luxury of it is the human touch. It's like, I'm a guy that, okay, listen, like I said, I'm out at Disneyland or something with the kids, and there's some robot flipping me a burger, whatever. Okay, I don't care. I'm just eating it for sustenance and moving on. Going to a restaurant, sit down, and let me have an experience, and then, little Flippy comes around. I don't know, right? It's not something I'm not going to be like, babe, let's go on a date night, and then I'm talking to a robot. It's just kind of weird for me, right? Here's the other thing, though, too, on top of that. Eventually, the personal chef experience will be the ultimate luxury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you're not building that now, because I don't know about you, but like, okay, having a robot come into my house and cook, that's next level creepy, in my opinion. I mean, That's why they're making those movies like what Megan and stuff. It's kind of freaky.
Well,
but
and the cost of that. It's like computers, you know, big businesses used to be the only ones with computers on the walls,
yeah,
right? You would never have a computer in the house, but that was the genius of
correct.
Steve Jobs and Bill Gates and all of those and Steve Wozniak is they said, no, we will have a computer in every household. And then eventually it was, we will have a computer in every pocket.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
It's
and
true.
how quickly did that happen? Like the smartphone actually started being invented in the 1980s. Do you know that? They actually started, there's literally a documentary, and the smartphone itself was being programmed with like touch and all of that.
It's awesome.
And then when the smartphone came out from Steve Jobs in the early 2000s, right, early to mid 2000s, like look how quickly everything escalated from there. The personal chef business, mark our words, it's going to be the same thing. It's just now coming out, but the escalation of where this is going is going to happen so quickly
because of the de-escalation of everything else. That's the perfect storm. The perfect storm is like, again, when Henry Ford mass produced the automobile, he wasn't the first to have an automobile. That's a misconception by a lot of people. He mass produced it and made it affordable for everybody, right? So that's why he was a pioneer. Like the reason we have highways is because of literally Henry Ford. That's the whole reason. We didn't need them before. You know, only really wealthy people had a car. And so like horses don't care if they're on concrete or dirt, probably actually prefer dirt. But here's the thing. It's like in that time, in that era, as things have progressed over the years, the biggest explosions of things has happened as something is escalating while other things are decreasing. And this is going to sound really mean, but sometimes even right now you go out to eat and you feel like the human is a robot, and they have like, they're not even good customer service anymore. So like that's already scarce. That's been scarce for a long time, in my opinion. I feel like just general customer service and just making you feel good. I mean, I was on the phone with some insurance companies yesterday, and it's like, oh my gosh, some of the arrogance and some of the, honestly, they were just kind of an a-hole, if I could say that, a couple of them that I talked to. And there was one that was so helpful. She was super helpful. And I'm like, you know what? Like, is there like a survey I can fill out after this call? And she's like, yeah, you just get like a 3-question survey. I'm like, well, can I like somehow voice like, hey, she was amazing. Like, give her a raise, right? Because in my opinion, again, this is what's going to separate even really good companies, is just having that. And listen, there's going to be a lot that you can automate with AI and machines. It's already happening and all that. We don't have some crystal ball, but the fact of the matter is a human being is a human being, and God created us. And I believe that we're smart enough to create things that robots and things can do for us and do instead of us, but recreating us, I don't believe that's ever possible, because God himself is the one that created us. But that's the thing, is that as the personal chef industry, I really believe is going to continue to grow, because more and more, as Brock said, more and more of these things are going to come out. And it's going to be okay for the masses to a degree, possibly, but they're going to say, what's the luxury is having someone there with a kind heart, having a Chef Harley show up and show love on the family and show beauty and love on them like with actual emotion, and have empathy and really relate things, right? Not from another experience of something that's pre-programmed, but of an experience of her own, right? Or a chef that, like, I don't know how you would even have a robot taste food. I don't know how that would work, right? Like our taste buds, like,
they would program it to,
yeah, but I mean, it's like still like the human tongue and a good palate. It's like, I don't know how you can get it to be that good. Like, so that's, again, those types of things. Like, again, this is the things that I feel that are going to continue. And what to kind of bring it all back around, like we talked about today, if you build a solid foundation, if you build a real business, one that's going to last, you are now poised, just like that big cruise ship. When you build that solid, massive foundation that's just not going to be taken down, it becomes that business that's going to be sturdy to uphold all the things that are coming down the road. We already know, me and Brock have talked about this many times. We say it, like, we know we're going to have $1 million personal chefs, and we're going to help coach them to get there. That will be like am I going to say that's the new norm? One day for us, it will be in Chefpreneur. But even the new norm, let's get to first, what's the new norm of having all of you guys earning 6 figures plus in your business with the appropriate foundations and the appropriate time and the appropriate commitment in building of it? Then we're going to make the new norm be $250,000, then $500,000. Like, that's our goal. And it's not about the money. It's just the money allows us to show
It's
the
a measuring
data
stick
of
how many people you served and have
exactly
served well.
exactly. How did you serve them? How well did you do? And so I just really have, again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I really believe with all my heart that this luxury is not going away. It's going to continue to grow. And I don't believe there's going to be something bigger happening in the food industry. The restaurant industry, unfortunately, is already dying off. The ones that are going to go to AI and robotics, those are going to be the ones that are going to make profit, but then they might be missing part of the selling proposition.
But they're going to create customers for the personal chefs, because there's going to be a whole lot of people
100%.
that they're going to alienate.
Yeah.
That said, I go to the restaurant for the atmosphere of the people.
Like, this is going to sound like a movie, but just hear me out. We'll kind of end it with this in a little bit here. But I was just thinking about this right now. Like, think about if someone is scheduling a call with a personal chef company in like 2050, right? And they're like, am I getting a robot as a chef or a human this time? And we're like, oh, sir, we only have human chefs. Oh my God, thank God. Like, the last 2 personal chefs I used, it was Billy Doe, the AI guy, and then another one was Shelly Styles or whatever, just random whatever. And that might be a real, you never know. There might be a real possibility, right? They airdrop it to your house and it comes in your house all creepy. And it's like looking at you and it's like, hi, Mr. Hinojosa. How are you? Tonight's dinner menu is New York strip steak.
Sure, it won't sound quite like that. It'll probably sound pretty real.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure at that part, if they can start tasting and all that stuff, I might not be here. Because
you probably program it.
Because Jesus probably already came back for the rapture, and I'll probably be in heaven at that point.
Actually,
but yeah,
you'd probably be able to program it to talk like a chef, like you wanted to. Like, hey,
actually,
I really for the experience of this meal, could you just yell at me like Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah. Like, what's funny is actually
and then the robot starts calling you a donkey.
And Chef Eric put in the chat, as long as they don't program the robots to have
no, you guys got
like
the
chefs.
jokes. You guys got the jokes.
You donkey. Pretty well. It sounded more like Shrek.
I like how is it Sukanya? Hopefully I pronounced that right, Sukanya boys. They have a lot of chefs these days who cook and don't.
Actually, it might not be. It actually be a pretty easy crossover.
Not too far off.
Yeah, it's very true. But anyway, that's what we're all about. Listen, here's my declaration for you guys today. Listen, if you are on this call or watching this show, you're watching the replay, and you want help, you're fully committed. You're not looking for a savior, but you're looking for an amazing coach and mentorship program that's going to come alongside you, give you the roadmap, help you succeed, and really do this with you. We'd love to talk to you, right? You can schedule a clarity call below this video. You can click on it. You fill out a couple questions, and then you can schedule a call that works for you on our calendar. And we're just going to give you clarity. We're just going to help you understand, hey, what are your goals? What are you trying to look to accomplish? Are you 100% committed in trying to resolve this and building this business the right way? And if so, we usually move on to another call. If that's you, we'd love to talk to you. Again, we're here to help you try to make the best decision possible for you. And I just know personally that anybody that has been there and done that is going to be the right person to have alongside of us when we want to accomplish something. And we hope that we can be that person for you. We hope that we can be your guide in this journey and make you the hero of your own story, and have it end well at the end of the movie of your life, and really helping you build all that God wants you to build in your dreams and your business. So with that being said, Brock, did you have anything else? Any of those closing words? No?
Just that we're here, not just to inform, but to transform.
Ooh, I like that.
There you go.
That might be a little tagline for the show. I love it.
Use it.
Hopefully by next week as well, we're going to remind you, we're going to have a pretty cool Chefpreneur neon sign. And I'm hoping it's, it says it's going to estimated delivery on Friday, but it's still in production. But again,
cool.
We'll see what happens. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you guys are watching us right now and or whatever, you're watching the recording, you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. please, please, please subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications and make sure you like this as well. Share it with people. Share it with people in the industry. Say, hey, guys, do you want AI to take your job? That might be a little regressive. Just say, hey, come check out this show. See what these guys are talking about. Again, we want to help you if you want to be helped. So we love you. God bless you. We'll talk.